Hello, I'm Alex Kapitanakis for Atlas Vault. I just want to take a few moments to talk to you about fiat currencies. What is a fiat currency? Fiat literally means declaration, government declared value. It's paper money. What is it that you need to understand when you hear fiat currency and hard currency? Hard currency is money backed by an asset, usually gold or silver. And most currencies start as hard currencies. They begin the life process as being run by paper money, but represented by actual gold or silver. What does that do? Well, when you have that kind of a system, governments have to behave themselves. They can't spend like crazy people spending whatever they want, like you have a credit card and you just go absolutely nuts. So what happens is it creates a system that governments have to keep within their means. They can't keep starting wars. They can't keep spending money and making promises to people so they can get votes. That is called a hard currency system. That doesn't last very long. Because when you have a hard currency system, again, you can't make crazy promises. You can't go to war all the time. You got to be able to pay for things as you go because the currency has value. But what happens? You have currencies that they begin to say, we're going to decouple the currency so they can spend. It's credit. They create credit. Instead of money, they create currency because really money is only what actually has an asset value. What we have today in the US and everywhere else, in Europe, it's not hard currency. We have fiat currency. We just have money that's paper that has nothing backing it except faith. It's the faith in the value of the money. And it's really not even money, it's currency. Over time, governments become indebted and they spend and they spend. And what do? They print. And they debase their currency by printing more, because what happens is if you keep printing money, the people that they get the first come people, the first people that can have access to that printed money, they get the value of it. And then when it begins to trickle down to the rest of the economy, that's when you start realizing that fiat currency is worthless. It begins to lose its value. And how do you know that? You don't really see it in the value of the dollar. You see it in the value of what you can't buy anymore. You see it in how you can't afford to buy things. And you start to wonder, why is everything going up so high? Why is it that I work the same amount of hours, but I can't afford what I used to afford? What's going on? And you don't even know who to blame. And what do the politicians tell you? You got the last president who said, it's the greed of the builders. It's the greed of the stores. It's their greed by raising prices. No, it's not. It's the stupidity and the foolishness of the people that are printing the money against your wishes. They're printing money that they don't have. They're spending money that they don't have a right to spend, but they're doing it out of thin air. And that's what's happening. This leads to not only inflation, because you have to look at it. Inflation isn't just inflation. It is the increase in prices, but it's really also the loss of purchasing power that happens when they keep doing this with their fiat currency. Confidence in the currency begins to decrease. The confidence goes down, and the leadership begins to create even more of a loss of confidence by making more money and printing more money, and they just keep making promises to the population. Vote for me and we'll get this done. They don't care. They don't consider the cost of what this all involves. But the cost is to you. It costs you money. It's your hard-earned money that you worked for that's being stolen from you. It's being siphoned away from you in purchasing power. Your ability to buy is disappearing. The cycle repeats itself, And it has repeated itself for over 1,000 years. You can just look at history. The Roman denarius, the Chinese flying money, the Weimar German mark, the Zimbabwe dollar, the Venezuelan bolivar. These are currencies that have collapsed, gone into hyperinflation. They just keep rewriting. They fix it by changing the name, but they've collapsed. They don't call it a collapse sometimes, or sometimes it's just beyond control and you get hyperinflation. I've talked about this and what happens with exponential growth and inflation. This is something that you need to consider that's happening every day, and it's happening in the United States. It's happening in Europe. The dollar and fiat currency has a life. It has a certain lifespan. There is an eventual collapse to fiat currency that happens because politicians and central banks will continue to print and print and print until they can't do it anymore, until they have to pay. And guess what? The average lifespan of a fiat currency, the average lifespan is 35 years. That's it. They have lasted as much as 35 years, and then after that, it happens, collapse, they redo it, they have to start from scratch. But in the meantime, when they do that, whoever is owed money, whoever has anything in that fiat currency is out of luck. Whoever has their money in paper is out of luck. You've got nothing you can get back when governments screw up and when banks screw up. Now, since 1971, Nixon created the complete fiat currency that is the dollar. So now it's been 54 years. 54 years for the United States, and it's the longest lasting fiat currency that's on the record. And everything else has an average of 35 years. The only reason we have survived this long is because we're the reserve currency. We are the only currency that the world is using right now in transactions. We've had a benefit that no other culture has had, and because of that, we've also taken advantage of it and we've abused it. So as a government with reserve currency, we have spent more than any other government, and we haven't had to worry about austerity measures. We haven't had to worry about all of these problems because we are still the currency that everybody looks to. I hope that lasts for a long time, but it doesn't have to. And even if it does continue, this one fiat currency cannot continue with this unstopped spending. And that unstopped spending, the debt to GDP ratio today is 135%. And again, remember that most economists think that the debt to GDP ratio that is a red flag in danger is 90%. We have escaped this long in the US dollar because the US dollar is the world currency. Politically, if things continue to happen where they continue to take hits politically worldwide and the currency begins to find alternatives, this is going to change. You can't continue to think that you're going to be all right with the dollar, and you will be for a while, but you can't count on it forever. And even if you can count on it being the reserve currency, being really 3% of what it was in 1913, you can't. And what is it doing to you? It's stealing everything that you worked for. All of your wealth, all the money you're saving is being siphoned away in a form of theft and silent tax that you don't even have any knowledge that it's happening. So how do you take care of it? Take action for yourself by getting yourself in a position where you can buy gold and silver. Store it. Store gold and silver where you can control it. Come and see us here at Panama at Atlas Vault. Here in Atlas Vault, you can have your own private vault protection, your own private place to keep it, and nobody but you has control over it. And gold and silver cannot be diluted. It cannot be created by a central bank. Gold and silver, historically, for 5,500 years, has been real money. And it will continue to be real money. In 1985, gold was $300 an ounce. Today, 1925, gold is $3,300 an ounce. Where do you think dollars have gone? Where do you think your purchasing power has gone? Take action and protect your wealth that you worked so hard for. Take action, put it away, and find a place where it could be stored in private. Come and see us here at Atlas Vault, and let us answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.